Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris, episode 101. We're going to talk about 101 rules of success, how to be successful, where you're going to go, how to get through the daily grind that you're going through. You know, the first thing I want to talk about is being resilient and having the strength to push forward when everything's falling around you. It's interesting because everybody thinks owning a business, oh, it's a beautiful thing. You're rich. You got all this money. They don't see the struggle. They don't see the grind that you're dealing with every day. And I think this first part's pretty much towards the business owners, but it can also be implemented by anybody out there struggling at work, trying to get through their situation, trying to work through whatever they're in the middle of. It's every day is not going to be rainbows and glitter. It's not going to be beautiful. It's going to be a struggle. Any business that says they never have a problem, they never have a lawsuit against them, they never get close to bankruptcy. Everybody gets close to all these things, or they have these things happen to them. But what makes the person that's going to be resilient and keep pushing through this? It's the type of person that you almost have to have no fear. You have to be able to take everything on. You have to be willing to lose everything and start over again. That's the resilience of having the strength to own a business, to run a business, or even maybe you're just thinking about, man, I want to leave this job. I want to upgrade to somewhere else. I've got an opportunity to go somewhere to make more money, but it's something you've never done before. And you get the job offer, you're ready to go. And there's that fear of what if it doesn't work out? Maybe what I've got here is better. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And you got to second guess yourself, and you're thinking about, what if I would just stay here? What if I would just do this? So there's multiple ways to look at this, but I think the true entrepreneurship, the true person that is out there running a business, the guy that's not afraid to move up in position and give it his all and do everything he needs to do, is the person that you got to have no fear in this. And you got to be willing to risk everything. You got to be willing to lose everything and start over again. There's so many people I've talked to, and there's business owners out there that they've started multiple businesses. And I guess the one common denominator is they weren't afraid to just drop something and start the next thing. They weren't afraid to lose everything and start over again. And they continue to make it. And they continue to thrive and make something more and get to that next level and grow in their business. That's what it takes. Willing to have that strength, to struggle through it, to fight through it every single day. There is not a day that goes by that I don't struggle with something, that I don't have a problem with something. It's always going to be there. It's always going to happen. Now, there are weeks like this week right now. I mean, we're on a roller coaster ride. I mean, each day so far this week, it is nonstop chaos. Everything's working. Everything's running fast. Everything. There's not a second in a day that I have a chance to, oh my God, I got nothing to do. It's not like that. And I love these moments. When these moments are happening and everything's happened so fast, that is where I thrive the most. When I've got to make split-second decisions fast and let's go, let's do this, that's where I thrive. You know, that's enough about that, but let's think about something else. Let's say rule number 2, whatever it is. We're not going to get through 101 today. I promise you. I'd love to, but we're going to keep it short and simple and just kind of go over a few things that are important to me and that I think would help you out there. Second thing is, don't second guess yourself. I've got a couple employees right now working for me, and I feel like they second guess everything they do. They're scared to make that decision. They're scared to jump in. They're in a position because I trusted them to run that job, or I trusted them to be in that position and to make the decisions. And when you come back to me and you talk about how, well, this is happening and this isn't working and we got this problem. And then towards the end of the conversation, but here's what we're going to do to fix it and do all this. Well, don't lead in with all the disaster. Don't lead in with all the drama and the BS that the problem is. Let's lead in with, hey, there's a problem, but I got a solution, John. Here's what I'm going to do. But here's what led up to it. Let me know that you have it under control. Don't blow it out of proportion and get everybody frazzled up, worked up, and then all of a sudden at the end, but here's what I'm doing. You know, all this drama happens and it doesn't need to happen. Make sure you know what you're talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, ask for help. That's the biggest problem that I'm seeing right now is it seems like no one wants to ask for help. They're scared. They're scared that someone's going to think less of them. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to think more of you if you ask for help. If you're out there on a job and you're struggling, you've got problems, you don't know what to do, you need somebody to talk to, but you're just going to try to man up and do it yourself because you think someone's going to think less of you because you didn't know the right thing to do. No, they're going to think less of you because you didn't ask for help. And then you proceeded with a decision that did not turn out to be the right way. You've got to think about what you're doing. You got to ask for help. We are a company of multiple people from multiple different directions with a lot of knowledge. And if we can't figure it out, we've got our reps from the vendors, from the paint stores that are going to help us out. We're going to research this. We're going to find the information so we can make the right decisions so we don't screw up a job. Perfect example, we got a job we're doing. There's some stained doors, and the customer came out. They weren't happy with it. They said they want them re-sanded down again because of the splotchiness and this and that. And our guys were ready just to start redoing everything. We're going to lose 80 hours right off the bat because we were going to start from scratch again. I'm like, no, we got to stop. You got to stop and think about what you're doing. We can't panic. And I think that's a good rule is don't panic. Don't panic about everything out there. Something happens, don't rush into it. Don't get in a panic because when you panic, you make mistakes. When you rush into something, you're going to make a mistake. That's one thing we're doing this year. We are slowing everything down. A contract comes in, we're not rushing to sign it. Oh, yeah, we got another $200,000 contract. Let's sign it. Let's get it going. No, we're going to slow down. We're going to have the estimators go back over the bid, make sure the takeoff was accurate, correct, make sure we didn't miss anything. So we have a second takeoff. Then it goes to the senior project manager. Now he's going to look at it. He's going to read the contract, make sure everything matches up that is in our scope of work. And then it comes to me and I'm going to look over it and make sure it's good to go. That's 4 sets of eyes that are going to go over something. Where in the past, we would just rush and sign this contract. We'd get it off and we'd jump into our situation. We'd do what we need to do. And we were missing things. Or the contract would come and all of a sudden there's something slid in there in the fine print somewhere. There's something that, oh, now we're painting all this metal into place that wasn't part of our scope, but they slipped it in a line and now we're held to it because we signed that contract. We can't be having that. With these stained doors, we had to stop. We did not rush and go back out there and start sanding them down again and restaining them. No, I sent one of our guys who's a stain expert. He went out there. He knows everything about this, how the product works, the issues. And he went out there and explained, well, it's looking like this. It's shining areas. It's the way the stain took to the wood. Wood is not consistent. It's not going to have the same finished look on everything once you've sanded down and you're restaining. If it's brand new, hey, you can get a decent look at it. But stained wood is always going to take stain differently. So we had to stop. We couldn't panic. And it's like, okay, let's slow down. Now all we got to do is go back there and lightly scuff some areas, lightly add a little bit of stain and start clear sealing. Now we're going to be within our hours. Now we're going to be right where we need to be without the panic, without the drama, without all the extra issues. So the panic part, and I see a lot of people in general in life do that. You know, something happens or they hear something or, you know, and speaking from my own experience with a lot of people in my family who've gotten cancer in the past, you hear cancer and all of a sudden you freak out, you panic, you think someone's dying. It's not always the case. And you just got to slow down and take it one step at a time. Take all the information in and then make a decision. You can't rush into that. Now, I know in the beginning I said I love the chaos. I love making quick, fast decisions around here. But the deal with that is I've been in this business long enough to where I have the knowledge, I have the experience, I can do that. Now I'm trying to grow my guys up to my level. Now, unfortunately, we're running into a situation to where we only promote within the company. And I think this is going to kind of be my next rule. I think we're on number 4, something like that. And this is sometimes you have to look outside the company for the right answer. Not all the answers are going to be here. Not every chance you get, you can promote within the company. Trust me, I love to. I love to promote my guys. I love to grow within the company. I want to get them to that next level, and we have. I've had, I swear, every painter that works for me, if they're a superintendent, if they're an estimator, if they're a project manager, if there's somebody in this company in upper management, they started at the bottom as a painter. Every person did. But we're at a level now in our company where I am now looking to hire an operations manager. We're looking for somebody that has more experience. The problem is I'm working too much in the business and not on the business. So I'm trying to find somebody that has a level of experience similar to mine, but maybe has never owned their own company, or maybe they did, it didn't work out, that it wasn't the right time, but they've got the experience to be our field operations manager, to oversee everything and run everything. And so to hire somebody like that, I am now having to search outside the company. It's interesting because one of my guys and project managers, I mean, I think he was worried that I was looking for his replacement because he's been making some mistakes, and it's not the case. I'm hiring somebody in this position to oversee it so we don't make all these mistakes. I want us to be at the top of our game. I'm going through interviews right now. I've met a few people. And it's interesting. First thing in the ad that I ran, in order to be eligible for this, you must email a resume. Once we read the resume, we'll call you, we'll schedule an interview. I've got people replying to this, not even sending a resume, just, hey, here's my number, I'm interested. Or, hey, I got 20 years experience, here's my name and number, I'm interested in your job. If you can't follow the simple direction of just sending a resume, at least take some effort into it, because I'm looking for the right person. But you are not going to be the right person if you can't even follow the simple directions in an ad on how to apply for the job. That tells me right there that you don't have the experience, you don't have the knowledge, you're not going to be a good fit for our company. But we do need somebody outside the company. It's time to bring somebody in, and maybe it's, let's call it rattling the cage, shaking things up around here. Maybe that's what we need just to get everybody kind of back to focus. We've got a few jobs that, we're going a little bit over budget. They're still profitable, but we're trying to make sure we have a certain percentage profit margin. We're trying to make sure we stay within the budget of this. We allow a certain amount of hours, allow a certain amount of gallons, and let's figure out how to fine tune this. It's basically someone that's going to oversee this, make sure everything happens the right way. And if somebody under them or somebody in a different position that has to answer to this person has a problem, then that's on them. The bottom line is this person's going to come in and kind of take charge. That's what I need. They're going to have the experience. And it's not something I'm going to throw them out there right away and they're going to do everything. They're just going to take over. No, they're going to go through a 30-day training process. It's going to be, they'll actually be out in the field working on 3 different jobs during that time. They'll also be doing ride-alongs with the project managers. They'll be working in the office with the estimating department. They're going to learn every piece of this business before I actually let them take charge of this. I'm not going to send someone out there blindly. That would be ridiculous. And why I've been talking about this, just thinking as we go, maybe the next rule is, don't, if you're in fear of your job, if you're in fear because I'm running an ad to hire somebody, maybe you're the one with the problem. That's on you. Don't overthink stuff. I think that's the problem that I see with a lot of people, and especially coming through the second chance program that we do and coming out of prison or off the streets or out of rehabs. One of the biggest thing I see is they overthink things. And I think we all do that. I think it's human nature. So we've got to stop overthinking everything, or stop assuming things. I've got a situation. There's 2 people in the company. They're going through something. And here I am. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of that. What I need to do is just sit down and talk with them and say, what's going on? And 99.9% of the time, when I get the answer in a situation like that, it turns out that it was nothing I thought it was. It was something totally different. And I've had that happen time and time again, where I'll see somebody and I think, man, they're going through some struggles. They're struggling at the job. There's something happening. I go talk to them and it has nothing to do with anything. Girlfriend broke up with them, or they were reading a book and thinking about something. It was the stupidest thing that I overthought what was happening. And we can't do that. Something else that comes to mind is working with your coworkers. It's if you can't get along with the people around you, maybe you're the problem. You've got to get along with your coworkers. You've got to find common ground with the people you work with. You've got to find something that aligns with the people around you. We're here to do a job. You don't have to come to work and like everybody around. You don't have to need to know every personal detail about every single person in the company just to get along with people, but you're there to do a job. When there's infighting in a company, I don't care who started it. I'm getting rid of both people. There's no reason for it. It's toxic. It's chaos. it creates a cancer within a company where it's just a problem after that. No one wants to work with these people. And then even when they're not working with each other, then they're bad mouthing the other person, talking about somebody else or what's going on. Don't be that person. And if you're working with someone like that, or if you have a company like that and you have people in there, get rid of them. They're hurting your business. They're hurting the people around you. We come to work, we have a job to do. You might not like the job you're doing, but you signed on to do that job. You've committed to do it. You've committed to whatever pay they're giving you. Make the best of it. If you don't like it, look for something else. But don't quit the job you've got right now. Continue to work there until you do find something else. And when you do decide to leave, do it the right way. Put in a 2 weeks notice. That is the best thing to do, because what happens if you go to that other job and it's not what you expected, and hey, maybe you might want to come back and work for us? You want to make sure you left on a good note. And people always say, well, I'm not going to do that because, man, every time that happens, they always fire them. Well, more than likely, that person at that time, they were going to get fired anyway. They were thinking about letting them go, or they were just keeping them for the meantime because they had nobody else to put in that position. If you are valuable and you're doing your job and you give a 2 weeks notice and you give those 2 weeks 110%, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about your character, the person you are. And I promise you, you come back in my door, I would probably hire you back if it didn't work out at the other place. Doesn't mean you're going to get the same position, because we might have refilled that, but you will have a place back with us. And it's interesting because there are a lot of employers out there. I had a guy recently want to quit and move somewhere else and go to a different company, and he's leveling up. And he put in his 2 weeks notice. He told the other company, hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. Well, we want you to start now. He goes, no, the PHP's been good to me. I'm going to give them my 2 week notice. It's the right thing to do. And that's exactly it. Now, if that other company said, well, I think we'll look a different direction, that's on them. That tells me you don't want to work for a company like that. If they can't respect the fact that you're giving your 2 weeks, because, and it's funny, when I was talking to this individual that works for me, and he said, I told him, hey, you want me to do that to you. Why would I do it to the current guy I'm working with? I'm not going to burn a bridge. And that's very valuable. And I think that kind of leads into another rule for us. Don't burn a bridge. You never know when you're going to come back across the people you are surrounded with right now. You might want to leave. You might want to go work somewhere else, but you never know when it's time or you might need to come back. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. I remember one recently. We had a girl working for us, and she left on a sour note. She called me some names and some other stuff, yelling and screaming, and she got let go because she made some mistakes and did some wrong things, and she ended up leaving and creating some chaos. Now, it's funny, fast forward 2 years later, she comes walking through the front door wanting to know if we would hire her back again. There is no way. People think that most people have a short-term memory. That is not true. You work for a legitimate company. People remember what you did. They're going to remember if you screwed them over. They're going to remember all the mistakes you made. They're going to remember if you gave them a 2 weeks notice and you gave it 110% for that 2 weeks before you left. They're also going to remember when you walk out the door yelling, screaming, and cursing and calling people names because you felt like you were done wrong when you're the one that messed up the job or did something wrong. We don't fire people just to fire people. I fired 1,000 people, but they did something wrong to have us exit them out the door. That's all it comes down to. So don't burn that bridge. I promise you, there's going to come a time where you're going to run across these people, especially out here in Phoenix in the painting industry. Everybody knows everybody. If somebody walks in the door and said they work for so-and-so painting, guess what? I know the owner. I got his phone number in my phone. I'm going to call him up, walk back in the warehouse and say, hey, I got this person applying for a job. I know you can't share too much information, but would you ever hire them back again? If the answer is no or hell no, then there's probably a good chance I'm not going to hire this person because of that. If they say, you know what, I would definitely hire them back. They gave me a 2 weeks notice. They didn't burn a bridge with me. That says something about this person, their character. I did that recently last year with an individual. I called my buddy at the paint company. I said, hey, I got this guy out here applying for a job. He said he worked for you. He goes, John, he was a great employee. The problem is he just had a hard time showing up on time. He told me, if you can figure out how to get him to show up to work on time, he's going to be one of your best painters. And sure enough, we hired him and he started showing up on time. He loved the job. He enjoyed doing it, but he ended up leaving us recently and he gave me his 2 week notice because we do mostly commercial and industrial painting. He wants to do residential. And I'm not going to knock a guy for that. He did it the right way. He left the right way. He gave it 110%. He did everything he needed to do to exit without burning a bridge. So remember that as you grow and as you're gaining momentum in your job and you're trying to move up the ladder, you're trying to level up everywhere you go, don't burn a bridge. It will follow you. Someone somewhere will know about it. And it's, people don't forget. They do not have a short-term memory. They're going to remember this stuff. You know, the other thing I'm going to recommend out there is give it 110%. I know I've said that a few times talking about giving it 110%. What is 110%? You know, for me, giving it 110% is if you're starting at 7, you're there early. I don't care if you're there 6:30. I don't care. You know, my rule, 10 minutes or you're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. So knowing that, I'd say give it the extra effort. If you're giving it 110%, you're the first person there, you're the last to leave. And it doesn't mean you're clocked in and getting paid all the time. You're showing the initiative, showing them that you want to learn. There's a lot of guys, we had training here on Saturday in our office, and it wasn't mandatory. It was open to the entire company for whoever wanted to come in and learn how to read blueprints better. You're not getting paid for this, but if you want to level up, if you want to gain this knowledge, and we had quite a few people show up. It was amazing to see the turnout and the drive from some of these people. To me, that's given 110%. That's giving it that extra that says, I want to learn more. I want more knowledge. I want to better myself in this business, in this company, so I can level up. And even if they don't level up or they don't move up in our company, at least it gives them the knowledge. When they go somewhere else, I want people to say, oh, you work for PHP? Okay. Did you get fired? No. Okay. We want you. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you get fired from our company, no one should hire you. There's a reason behind it. But if you decided to leave to go make more money, to level up, I would highly recommend, if you're getting an employee of mine from PHP, we taught them the best way, the right way, the only way we know how. We're not going to let people fail in this company. And more than likely, these people are gaining knowledge from us. They're growing and they're going to move up in position. Sometimes we just don't have enough positions open to move everybody up, and guys need to stay as a painter for quite some time. Those situations happen. And at the time, I'm going to pick the best person that I see that I have on hand at that time to move into that position. And it's not always the best painter. It's not always the best one with the most skill, but it's the one that shows up, that gives it 110%, that grinds every day, that goes the extra mile. The one that tries to, if there's a problem, they try to fix it. They ask for help to fix it. Everything I'm talking about right now is that person that gives it 110%. Mondays and Tuesdays are my long days. I'm here at the office at 4:30. I don't get home in bed till 9 o'clock at night because I work all day, I teach class. That's 110%. And I don't question it. I don't think about it. I just do it. If something needs done around here, I just do it. If I'm walking through the warehouse and a cigarette butt blew in from the outside in the roll-up door, I'm picking it up, I'm throwing it away. That's 110%. If the toilets need clean here, I'm cleaning them. If the floor needs mopped, I'm mopping it. That's 110%. The people that impress me the most, I got a girl, I'm going to brag about her a little bit, Amber. We were a little bit slow last summer, and I might have talked about her before, but we were a little bit slow. I was trying to get everybody at least 32 hours during that time. We just wrapped up a bunch of really big jobs, and we're waiting on some more to start. She came into the office, and I was sitting at my desk, and I could hear her up front talking to the girl in the front, and I came out and talked to her. She goes, John, I don't know what I got to do. You know, I need to work. I need to make money. I will come in here. I'll mop the floors. I'll take out the trash. I'll clean the toilets. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I made sure the next day that she was working, and I made sure she worked every day since then. She is now in our office working with the estimating department, helping us out in there. And that's what 110% looks like. That's how you grow. That's how you level up. That's how you get to the next level. Now, I know I said we're going to talk about 101 rules of success or ways to be successful. Maybe it's 101 ways not to fail, what to do, whatever you want to call it. Give it more than what you're doing. If what you're doing right now isn't working, then change what you're doing. Do something different. Try to change it up. Level up yourself. Once you get that momentum started, it's hard to stop. Just continue to grow, continue to do what you need to do. Just keep leveling up. Now, if you enjoy watching these videos and my podcast, listening to it, like and subscribe. But if you've got a rule of success, if you've got something that you want to talk about, or you think that would be a good topic to talk about, let's say the idiots out there that are failing, how not to fail, shoot me a message. I will reply back to it. I will answer your questions. I'll talk to you about whatever you think we should talk about on this. But once again, I really appreciate you guys watching, listening. Like and subscribe. Stay hungry.